When a woman begins to ignore you, it can feel like a punch to the gut. The woman who once craved your attention now responds with cold, one-word answers. She seems distant, and you're left wondering where it all went wrong. But here's the hard truth. When she ignores you, it's not the time to chase or beg for her attention. This is the moment to rise, to embody a sense of stoic calm, and let her see who you truly are. A man who doesn't depend on external validation to feel whole. At the heart of Stoic philosophy lies a principle of emotional control and detachment. The Stoics believed that external circumstances should never dictate how we feel, and that our inner world must remain unshaken, no matter what happens outside. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." And in the context of a woman pulling away, this wisdom becomes critical. The worst thing you can do when she ignores you is chase her. Instead, do nothing. But that nothing is everything. By giving her the silence she craves, you shake her to her core. The absence of your energy is louder than any message you could send. When you stop seeking her validation and stop playing into her games, you take control. You are not needy. You are not desperate. Your calm detachment forces her to confront something uncomfortable. You don't need her. And that realization can break the ego she tried to wield over you. Why does silence hold such power? It's simple. She expects a reaction from you. She expects you to chase, to beg, to show that you can't live without her. But when you choose not to react, when you allow her absence to speak louder than your presence, you send a powerful message. The Stoic does not beg for attention. He lets the world react to him, and by pulling away, you show her the strength of your own self-sufficiency. This is not about revenge, it's about evolution. When a woman ignores you, it's a test. She wants to see if you'll fold under the pressure. She wants to know whether you value her attention more than you value your own self-worth. When you remain calm, composed, and detached, you show her that your peace is not for sale. And that's when the power dynamic shifts in your favor. Most men, when faced with a woman's silence, become frantic. They chase her more intensely, desperate for a sign, a response, anything to reassure them that they're not being abandoned. But this behavior only pushes her further away. It's a classic mistake. The harder you chase, the more distant she becomes. This is because the act of chasing signals insecurity, and women, just like anyone else, are attracted to confidence, not desperation. But when you stop chasing, when you give her the space she wants, something remarkable happens. Your silence becomes your power. It doesn't just show her that you can walk away. It shows you can be at peace with your own company. You don't need her to define your worth. You are already whole. This sends a powerful message to her subconscious. I don't need you, but I would like you. This is where the true power of the Stoic man lies. It is not in his ability to manipulate or control, but in his unwavering commitment to himself. The Stoic is unmoved by external events because his sense of self-worth is not tied to what happens outside of him. He does not derive his happiness or peace from other people's actions. And this is exactly how you should approach a woman who is ignoring you. Instead of letting her behavior dictate how you feel, you should stand firm in your own worth, unaffected by her actions. The silence you offer is not meant to be a punishment. It is a tool for self-empowerment. The Stoics believed that we must never let our peace be disturbed by anything outside of ourselves. And when a woman pulls away, it's a test of your inner fortitude. Can you maintain your peace when things are not going your way? Can you remain composed when she withdraws? The answer must be yes. The true test of character is not how we act when things are easy, but how we behave when faced with adversity. When you choose silence over reaction, when you choose detachment over obsession, you are not only showing her something powerful, but you are also showing yourself how strong you truly are. The more you practice detachment, the more you realize how little control anyone else has over your happiness. You become the master of your own fate, unaffected by the whims of others. This is the essence of Stoicism. To control yourself, your emotions, and your actions regardless of what happens in the external world. By embodying this philosophy, you become the kind of man who doesn't just wait for things to happen, you create your own reality. And when you stop chasing her, stop seeking her approval, stop allowing her to control your emotional state, you become a man who commands respect and admiration. In conclusion, when a woman ignores you, don't chase her. Don't beg. Don't get angry. Instead, rise above it all. Use this as an opportunity to practice the principles of Stoicism. Embrace the silence. Let it speak for you. Show her that you don't need her attention to feel validated. Your self-worth is not dependent on her. You are already complete. And that is when the true power dynamic shifts in your favor. When a woman pulls away, it's easy to feel rejected. The silence, the lack of communication, the withdrawal of affection. It can make you question your worth. You start to wonder, did I do something wrong? What happened? But you must learn not to take this personally. A woman who pulls away without explanation or communication is not a reflection of your shortcomings. She's simply revealing her true nature. Her actions are not about you, they are about her desires and her emotional state. Her silence speaks volumes, but it is not a reflection of your value. It's vital to separate yourself from the situation and see it clearly. This is where Stoic philosophy really shines. The Stoics understood that external events are beyond our control, but how we respond to them is always within our power. As Epictetus once said, we suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them. It's crucial to realize that the pain you feel from being ignored only arises when you allow it to affect you. You have the power to choose how you interpret and respond to her silence. Instead of seeing it as a personal rejection, you must view it as valuable information. This is not the end of the road, it's simply a signal. A woman who disrespects you by pulling away without explanation is showing you something important. She's removing herself from your life. Let her go. It's not your job to chase what is trying to leave. You don't need closure, you need clarity. And clarity tells you that when someone pulls away, it's not a reflection of your worth. It's a chance to reclaim your power. You must resist the urge to chase. You must detach yourself emotionally from the situation, no longer giving her the power to affect your state of mind. A man who respects himself understands that his own self-worth is not defined by another person's actions. When you stop chasing after validation, you restore your own sense of value. You stop seeking external confirmation and start embracing your own intrinsic worth. The Stoic man knows that his worth is not subject to anyone's approval, and in that knowledge he becomes free. When a woman pulls away, it can feel like an assault on your pride, but you must rise above the emotional impulse to react. Your self-respect must outweigh your need for her attention. Every time you double text, send more messages, or beg for validation, you are slowly eroding your masculine essence. Each moment of desperation chips away at your identity, and the more you beg for her attention, the less attractive you become in her eyes. A man who respects himself knows when to walk away. He doesn't need to explain himself. He doesn't need closure. He simply knows that his time and energy are too valuable to waste on someone who does not appreciate them. As Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Bravery in this context means walking away from a situation where you're not being respected. It means choosing your own peace over the desire for her attention. It means resisting the urge to beg or plead, and instead, taking back your emotional sovereignty. When you choose to respect yourself more than you crave her attention, you flip the power dynamic. The power is no longer in her hands, it's in yours. This shift is incredibly powerful because it shows her that you are in control of your emotions. You're not desperate for her validation. You're not waiting for her to fill an emotional void within you. You are whole, complete, and strong on your own. And when you project that sense of inner strength, you become magnetic. Women, and people in general, are drawn to those who are self-sufficient, emotionally stable, and secure in their own value. When you stop chasing her approval and start honoring your own self-respect, you shift the dynamic from one of neediness to one of power. This change in your mindset and behavior will also cause her to start feeling the absence of your energy. The absence of your attention is more powerful than any words or actions you could ever say. It forces her to confront her own feelings. She may wonder, why haven't you reached out? What happened? She may begin to feel a sense of loss, realizing that the person she once took for granted is no longer emotionally available. And that realization can be unsettling for her. In the past, she may have been the one in control of the dynamic, but now, it's clear that you are the one who dictates your own emotional state. You are not affected by her actions, and this shows her the strength of your resolve. In many ways, this absence speaks louder than any emotional outburst could. When a man respects himself more than he craves attention, he begins to set boundaries. He no longer seeks external validation because he has mastered the art of internal validation. He knows that his worth is not determined by anyone else's opinion, and he understands that self-respect is the cornerstone of a fulfilling life. By choosing to walk away from a woman who pulls away, you not only protect your emotional well-being, but you also demonstrate that you have the strength to move forward without her. The man who respects himself does not beg, does not chase, and does not waste his energy on someone who does not see his value. Instead, he walks away with dignity, knowing that his worth is undeniable. This is the true power of self-respect. When you honor yourself above all else, you no longer need anyone to validate you. You become the kind of man who attracts respect and admiration naturally. And when a woman realizes that you no longer need her to feel whole, she may just come to appreciate the strength it took to walk away. By respecting yourself first and foremost, you are not only reclaiming your power, but you're also teaching others how to treat you, especially her. And that is when the real shift happens. The true power of a Stoic man is his ability to remain unshaken, no matter what life throws at him. Life is full of challenges, but how you respond to them determines your growth and strength. When a woman ignores you, it can be tempting to fall into one of the many emotional traps that most men do. The natural response is to beg for her attention, to lash out in anger, or to pretend you are happy and unbothered in an attempt to make her jealous. These responses are common, but they all share one critical flaw. They scream the same thing: I'm not okay without you. But a Stoic man doesn't fall into these traps. Instead, he takes a different path. He vanishes, not in a dramatic, spiteful way, but in a way that lets his absence speak volumes. He doesn't engage in emotional games. He doesn't post cryptic quotes about heartbreak. He doesn't manipulate the situation to get a reaction. He simply allows her to walk. And why? Because he knows a simple yet profound truth. What walks away from peace was never meant to stay. You see, when a woman pulls away, it's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of her current state of mind, her priorities, and her emotions. But here's the key. You are not in the business of convincing anyone of your worth. The moment you stop seeking validation from others, you enter the realm of true power. You are not chasing her to prove anything to her. You are mastering yourself. And this is the critical difference. When you walk away, when you stop chasing, when you choose to evolve instead of seeking her approval, you are no longer playing her game. Instead, you create your own game, one where you are in control. When you make the decision to stop chasing her, you make it clear to her that you are not dependent on her for your happiness or self-worth. This is when she begins to notice the shift. She will start to see your distance, your silence, and your growth. It will make her question, why haven't you reached out? Why aren't you waiting for her messages? What has changed? She will wonder why you no longer need her validation, and this uncertainty will begin to erode the ego she's been nurturing. She thought she had the power, but in reality, it was your self-control all along that made her feel secure. Now, with your absence, her security begins to crumble. This is a crucial turning point. The absence of your presence speaks louder than any message or action. The Stoic understands that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing. You don't need to chase, you don't need to beg for attention, and you don't need to be constantly available. The absence of your energy, your emotional withdrawal, becomes the ultimate form of power. It's not about being cold or indifferent. It's about remaining calm, composed, and unshaken in the face of emotional turbulence. When you choose to detach, you stand in the eye of the storm, unruffled and resolute. The woman who ignores you reveals her true priorities, and if you are not a priority, then that's her loss. In the end, you will realize that her actions were never about you. They were about her own emotional state, and the choices she made are hers to live with. You are not broken, and you are not lost. You are simply evolving. You are growing into the person who no longer needs anyone to validate his existence, his worth, or his happiness. This evolution is key. When you walk away with pride, with silence, and without bitterness, you send a message that's impossible to ignore. It's not about being angry or resentful. It's not about revenge. It's about reclaiming your power. When you let her ego fall apart under the weight of your absence, you prove that you are not at her mercy. You do not need her to feel complete, and you are perfectly capable of thriving without her. Your silence is not weakness, it's strength. It's a quiet, deliberate choice that showcases your resilience. And when you return, stronger, wiser, and more self-assured, she will see a version of you that's unrecognizable. The man who walked away is not the same man who comes back. You have evolved. You have grown. You have mastered the art of detachment, and that is a form of power that no one can take from you. And here's the ultimate irony. She will realize too late that she never truly had the man she thought she did. The person she once took for granted has become someone else, someone who no longer needs her validation. The new you, the evolved version of yourself, doesn't even look back. You don't regret what's past. You don't long for what could have been. You simply move forward, knowing that your peace, your strength, and your self-respect are the most important things. When you stop chasing, when you stop needing, when you walk away with quiet strength, you not only reclaim your power, but you also become the type of man who commands respect, admiration, and attention, not through force, but through the sheer force of his character. And that ultimately is the final move. The silence that speaks louder than any words, the calmness that destroys everything that doesn't deserve your presence. You are not cold. You are calm. You are unshakable. And that calm destroys everything that doesn't serve you.